Control, a third-person shooter set in the world of probably SCP Containment. The visuals are trippy and eye-catching and looks like something made by MC Escher. The puzzles make too much or no sense at all depending on the amount of bath salts currently circulating in your system, and are somewhat reminiscent of something like Antichamber. Combat is a mix of shooting and sophisticated and complex abilities, such as throwing rocks. It is serviceable, but it is a mere break from the actual gameplay. Collecting duck, finding secrets. The story sees you take control of the oldest house, an infinite and expanding building containing magical items ranging from a paper possessed by the Roadrunner and a fridge. Do not look away from the fridge. If you wish to understand this confusion that I have created, partially in order to convince you to view the rest of the video, tune in. For the rest of you, the conclusion has a timestamp. Let's see what this game is all about. The aforementioned oldest house is a convoluted mess befitting this game. 2 words, Soviet Hotel. I know it is supposed to depict a Cold War era American governmental building. However, I was born in the Balkans. And to be honest, considering it consistently grows and shifts around with little to no regard for human life, oftentimes with severe consequences, yeah, Soviet Hotel is a more accurate description. Who in their right mind would inhabit this place unsuitable for human life? The Aussies. The FBC, the Federal Bureau of Control. Where do I even begin? They are guilty of the expected, stealing government funds, controlling public opinion, attempting to rename the Geneva Convention into the Geneva Suggestions. Did we encounter something that killed an employee? Best send another one. Just take notes this time. Their official job is acquiring and safeguarding altered items. These magical troublemakers are common items that become empowered by the collective consciousness of humanity. For example, there is a traffic light that, due to human perception, allows you to play Squid Games Limited. One such acquisition occurs when the slide projector manifests. They go in, secure the item, and kidnap a child? And then monitor his sister, who ends up hearing voices due to the event and is locked up in an asylum due to claiming her brother is alive and taken by the secret deep state. Stellar decision. Oh, and do not think the brother had an easier life. In order to accommodate the child, they created their own little kids' TV show. How thoughtful.
You got stuck in your room for 3 days, Topher. Too bad you didn't have your book with you. Or any food. And remember, kids, when you feel the floor deviate, it's already much too late.
The Bureau is such a nice place. Anyway, Jessie and Dylan are the siblings, and we play as the former. She finally manages to find her way to the Bureau headquarters with the help of Polaris, the non-imaginary friend gained during that whole debacle. The janitor has a picture next to the CEO and the research dude. Okay. This Finnish enigma is not your average Roomba. Besides butchering the English language, he's some sort of, I don't know, the game doesn't really explain it.
There be work for the axe. Take them behind the sauna, jumalauta.
He quite literally has the keys to the place and helps us enter the building proper. Oh, come on, are we playing Antichamber again? Well, after arriving in the director's office,
You want me to pick it up? The murder weapon?
What do you mean pick it up? We're gonna get thrown in jail and...
Where am I?
In prison, Jesse. We are in space prison. And we really have to fight the black... So, in the end, these extra-dimensional shareholders, the board, releases us on parole to fix the mess the FBC is currently in.
Quieted down outside. Is it safe to go?
You know what? You were right. Let's go back to prison. Okay, so there is something seriously messed up with the Bureau currently. It has been invaded by the Hiss, and after what is probably the fastest corporate career in history, we, the director, are in charge of fixing whatever this is. Even though the game released 6 years ago, it looks incredible. The way it plays with shadows and colors makes for some really interesting shots. And the best part is that most of these are not even important moments, just random parts of the building. The actual models do not really hold up close, but due to the way they display them, most imperfections are hidden. Although this does fail once or twice, mostly due to overusing light. The monotonous gray of concrete is shaped into impossible forms and shrouded in mist, while the flaring red signals enemies and wakes you up for combat. Random moments feel worthy of wallpaper status, but in the interest of time, we need to move on. Also, the way they do transitions is nice, when it works, that is. What am I shooting at? The UI is clean, and I have no issues with. However, the map. I'm not sure if they designed it as a nightmare to navigate in order to reflect the status of the oldest house, but it shows sections that are not there and fails to show existing ones. The weapon and abilities have a ton of details. You control gravity by selecting a specific item and throwing it at a target. However, there is a lot of collateral effects. The main weapon has multiple forms and animations and are adequately alien and weird. The sound is also up to par. When it comes to voice acting, however, it is a mixed bag. Darling, the head of research, is just phenomenal.
Exposing myself to it. I'm seeing things and overcome by compulsion. It's not just data, it's protection. It's benign.
There is also Trench, the former director, who is a broken record playing a single note, a jaded LA noir detective. But he plays that role rather well, even though we almost never see his face.
It beats the numb, sterile apartment I spend my nights in, insulated from everything but myself. I guess that's where the whiskey comes in.
The facelessness is probably for the best. I'm not sure, maybe the motion capture technology just did not catch up, but dialogue feels really weird sometimes.
But the Bureau has changed. Trench and Darling are gone. Their knowledge, anything not written down, disappeared with them. They knew the Bureau better than anyone.
The music is, I think it is good. I think. I'm not sure. There's this constant whisper of the Hiss, the enemy in the game, that pretty much accompanies you everywhere, overshadowing the background audio track.
There it is again. Our welcome message.
There is that one section of the game that encompasses and fully represents the entire game in just 5 minutes, combining the visuals, the audio, and the gameplay. The Ashtray Maze. I honestly think the music guy just went, you either let me do a track that is actually audible, or I riot. I honestly think he did both with this. Now we actually see the combat. How is it? Well, you equip 2 out of the 6 guns previously shown, and you just blast. There is a decent upgrade system where you can find or craft bonuses and upgrade these weapons, although it does have some weird things in it. The combat itself feels good as long as it is not too difficult. It is clearly flawed, but you will not notice it until fighting a hard boss that sends you packing in one attack. The time-based challenges also highlight these issues. For example, the AI sometimes tries to reposition at times, which is nice, but that means that you cannot find them. And when there's a timer, yeah. There's also abilities in this game. You pick up rocks to throw, you pick up rocks to protect, you pick yourself to levitate. It makes more sense in-game, I swear. Some of these abilities end up doing insane damage when upgraded, and depending on the object that you use, damage changes. Some people like to say this is a Souls-like, which I guess would be correct if I would hit escape, quit the game, and start Dark Souls. There is some clear inspiration, control points acting as a bonfire, and losing resources each death, but these two games are not the same. As far as I'm concerned, this game is a treasure hunt. It does go overboard sometimes. Here's an example. You soon learn paintings looking like this hide rooms behind them. The game hints this in the early stages of the game, mentioning Shawshank Redemption. However, after navigating this weird place and finding our reward, there is another secret room with no indication as far as I can tell. I discovered this by pure accident. It contains a clock-altered item that is clearly a puzzle. How to get the combination? Through the song we listened to earlier and decoding it, reversing it, and then turning it into ours. Thank God Reddit exists. If this sounds like too much, no worries. The main quest requires very little of this insanity. You have to go out of your way to even know this stuff exists. I have played so many RPGs, wannabe AAA games, that I have forgotten what exploration means. Sure, Assassin's Creed, for example, has huge good-looking maps, but what is in them? You go on the building, collect the flying object, then go on the ground and collect the chest. I could train a dog to do that. Here, you have a flamingo that makes you stand on air to collect, mannequins that clone themselves and play hide-and-seek with you. I mean, here the secrets have personality, feelings even. I swear the FBC treats them better than the employees.
You should immediately leave the area while speaking to yourself in a reassuring tone. This will not only keep you calm, but also the room.
Employees that have been mind-controlled by the Hesh that you have to eliminate. They come in multiple forms. Regular soldiers, big soldiers, health divers? There's also the more interesting ones, such as invisible and flying. Some come in the Xavier version. They also have an entire arsenal at their disposal, grenade launchers, RPGs, rifles, snipers. There's also the Pac-Man. This is the classic invulnerable enemy that you have to work around, like the regenerators from Dead Space. There is enough here to keep it interesting. Also, you have a shape-shifting weapon that reminds me of Star Wars Republic Commando. 6 forms total. The ones worth mentioning are the Surge, which I frequently use to end one target, myself, and the Pierce sniper rifle, which, considering the game throws waves of enemies at you.
Monster kill.
Some bosses are just empowered existing enemies or other things. More on that later. By the way, the one difficulty has massive spikes. I thought this was an easy boss because I CC chained him, but when I didn't... Regarding difficulty settings, you have some, but they feel like straight up cheating, in reverse sometimes. These options are not the only thing bugged, there is some interesting visuals, and sometimes they break completely. Can I make it worse? Yeah, now this feels right. Most bugs are harmless, except for the ones in expeditions. You can access them via the jukebox. A mission with random modifiers that you can complete for resources. I alt-tabbed, and when I came back, I got booted out with 0 rewards, including the collectible outfit. There are several of these you can unlock in this game. This last one requires the completion of the Shoom, an arcade game with a few challenges that allows you to also replay bosses. And the Then there is the accessory. There are so many bathrooms in this game. One is not like the rest.
Someone call a plumber.
Glad no one was around to hear that.
Now we have to go into whatever this is in an entirely different chapter. Find a cube, find a secret bathroom, realize this is a transdimensional portal to that other bathroom, use the cube to unlock it, and get this, which is a piece of 8 to unlock cat ears. Let's go back to the story before I lose it. Warning, spoilers ahead. So we are the director and we have to clean up the place. We find our first few friends, which instantly accept us as their new leader. They are even okay with us just accidentally firing someone. You might think this is odd, but considering their working conditions, I, for one, am not surprised. Just listen to these terms and conditions.
And you are aware that exposure to the astral plane can result in death, disability, personal injury, corporeal untangling, cognitive collapse, loss of ego, and partial to full dementia? Yeah.
Why are they acting as if this is so normal? So we go back to the bonked guy. Then we make our way to the tantrum-throwing floppy disk and we acquire it for ourselves. Pretty neat as long as we are careful with it. Lastly, this Ouija board of a hotline that allows you to talk to dead people and the board. God, you are so needy. Now that we have gathered our bearings, let's start fixing up the place. We go into maintenance and fix the NSC, a power plant. Otherwise...
Okay, so what happens again if that thing blows up?
Power. Explosion.
Okay, ex-director Ghost, you were, very helpful.
Director's duty. Keep the lights on.
This thing is, someone is inside? Humane way of housing? Why am I surprised?
NSC. Northmore Sarcophagus Container.
Northmore? Director Northmore? So Trench committed Sudoku and Northmore is essentially burning to keep the lights on. Oh my god. I don't like the track record for this position. There's a furnace down here as well.
The furnace can speak. Yes, I can feed you. What do you eat? I see. I'll try to find some volunteers.
You know, sometimes you fail and fall hard, but it is okay because at some point you hit rock bottom and then you can get back up. Unless you work for the FBC, in which case they will throw you a helping shovel and tell you to dig a new rock bottom. Or they just use it to bury you. Nah, actually, I don't think they have the decency for a burial. The hole is probably possessed by a paper shredder anyway, so you won't have to endure for long. Next up, research. Darling, the head of the department, created these things called HRAs. They are the reason some people survived first contact. How did he start producing a countermeasure for something no one had any idea was coming? We find out later.
Hedron is communicating with me.
What is clear though, he's slowly...
That's what the Hedron resonance amplifiers are for.
But surely...
What's the deal with the Hedron resonance anyway?
Losing it. You've really been hitting the gym for a lab rat, my man.
Is a dream inside my head. Why shouldn't it take me anywhere I want to go?
She turned up just the same. There was a knock on the door, a thump on the floor, and the party turned insane as she called out her name. And she walked in looking like dynamite.
When I said I wanted to hear some music, this is not what my imagination produced. So you head in, link up with Marshall, and secure and restart HRA production. Marshall seems like is really going to be a big help. However, she just goes off to help with something else. She ends up such a massive non-help. Her only achievement is having screwed up things so bad, we need a whole DLC to fix them.
This is it. She knows.
At least she hands us the location of our brother, the Panopticon. Before we go, the Mirror Realm. Everything is in reverse.
Wait, that didn't sound right.
After a few puzzles and a little bit of spooky, we fight our own mirror image. She also seems to have slightly more powers. I would like to note at this point that there are a lot of locked doors that I cannot access for the most part. I'm the director. How on earth do I not have clearance for this? He has access level what? He is a random cannon fodder. I'm taking that card one way or another. The Panopticon. Let's try reaching our brother. This is not going to end well, is it? He's codenamed P6, and we find out he has been abducted and trained to be the next director. We do not talk about the other 5. So, how did his training go?
What day is it today?
How the hell would I know? It's not like you give me a calendar.
What day is it today?
Do you enjoy asking people questions that can't be answered?
What day is it tomorrow?
Fuck off! I don't know! There is no calendar! Where is Casper?
Security, get a team in here. I need...
Yeah, I would have snapped too. So, what is in this place? Langdon is currently trying to keep a lot of altered items under control. We will talk about all of them in this section, regardless of where you actually encounter them. So, the issue with them is that they're currently acting weird, more so than usual, partially due to the hiss. The fridge is out of control.
If I look away, I don't know what this thing will do. You have to get me out of here. The door can only be opened by the Panopticon supervisor. Please hurry.
Infinitely multiplying clocks, a train where we get to play detective and have to figure out the order of events, a TV that will teach us to levitate. I am not sure how this one makes sense. I was expecting a different power here. An X-ray of a brain that quite literally captures your mind, giving us the power to mind control enemies. This thing whose exact purpose I have not discovered, nor do I think there is one. A 2000s early internet letter of send this message to at least 3 people or else. The one and only the Duck.
Next, I will attempt to communicate. Can you understand me? Can you understand my words? Quack if you can understand my words. No response.
A camera that sends us on a Hollywood-style hot pursuit car chase, and the anchor.
The fuck is that?
This is a boss fight that spawns enemies and opens a vulnerability point every so often. After dealing with this, we find the cell of our brother, empty. He is already up top and surrendered himself to the FBC. I thought this would be a plot point, like he's going to get aggressive, or maybe he knows the FBC hates him, so they would turn aggressive towards him and force us to choose between duty and family. But nope. So we head back up and, oh shit.
I forgot about fridge duty.
Yeah, me too, brother, me too. So we go back to fix the fridge, but too late, I'm afraid.
I can cleanse it.
So this is the former. Not much is known of him, however, he seems to have formerly been part of the board, the entity that we met at the beginning of the game that gave us the gun. Obvious weak spot, however, he has one attack that destroys terrain. I hate this guy. We find our brother and, well, considering what they did to him, I think a bit of levitating is relatively normal.
Push the fingers through the surface into the wet.
Never mind. Man, the Faden siblings really cannot catch a break. One thing to note is that Dylan, or the Hiss, recognized Polaris, our imaginary friend, calling her a copy, and that they let her in. So we realized the Hiss came through the slide projector, the same one from the start of the game that messed up their life as kids, so we go to stop that. Our friendly extra-dimensional Finn is going on holiday. He leaves us with his headphones, which allows us to, Last time, I promise. We go through the maze to find out the projector is missing. We also find out that Darling's inventions came from Hedron, who manifested to him similarly to the way it did to us. Just less insanity. We reach it, and that is one big HRA. If we remove the HRA, the protection, won't that... Yeah, it all goes south and Hedron is gone. We are stripped of our protection from the Hiss and the game ends.
You are a worm through time. The thunder song distorts you. Happiness comes. Light curls you.
Well, okay. It does not end. We are stuck in this dream where we are just an office assistant, making us wish it ended. Although some things are not quite right. Or maybe, considering how the Bureau is treating the employees, this is normal even before the Hiss. Yeah, I can see that happening, you know? Bro, I know you're locked up in a cage for most of your life, but we need to work on your social skills.
You should keep trying. You are getting closer.
How are you... what are you? Whatever. Here we find out that the Bureau went into the slide projector universes where Trench got infected by the Hiss. This is hinted throughout the game with Darling and Trench quarreling, both of them being influenced by interdimensional beings separating themselves from the Bureau and enacting weird and alien plans. Seeing this perspective is quite interesting. We get out because, just as Dylan said, the Hedron is a copy, a conduit, now living inside our head. Next, we find the slide projector and shut it down. Dylan is here, somehow. We fight some underwhelming generic enemies after receiving a power boost from the board, and congrats. Slightly underwhelming ending. One last thing, only now did I unlock the quest to deal with the mold and fight the boss. I do not think it was intended this way, however I'll use it as a substitute for the lack of an end boss. There are also 2 DLCs, adding new locations, altered objects, secrets, enemies, and a boss each. AWE, the first DLC, adds the investigations sector, which is tightly linked to the Alan Wake games. We do not get to meet the man himself, although some information in that regard is revealed, as he either has the power to rewrite reality, or at least predict the future with his stories. The area has a very horror vibe, mostly revolving around this guy.
Shit. Now what? What is that?
Come on, elevator, time to go.
Safe in the light, dead in the darkness. We chase him through the map and eventually deal with him. The Foundations DLC itself with the previously mentioned problem that Marshall created. She went and blew up the nail to prevent it being corrupted by the Hiss, which in turn destabilized the oldest house. How?
I took all the C4 I could get my hands on and strapped it to the nail. Boom.
Great. So we fix it and then cleanse it of the hiss. Thanks, Marshall. We also receive a new power from the board, but the former, realizing that instead of fighting us for control of the altered items, he could perhaps win us over with gifts, granting us another power. Overall, I liked both DLCs, but part of their content I have already covered throughout this review, as nowadays they are sold bundled with the base game. The game initially released as an Epic exclusive, which means one thing: early access. The game has some bugs even now, but nothing major. However, back then it must have been a lot worse. There's also some ideas that I think they wish to play with. There are many safe vaults that should have been able to house people, but none are found. The central hub keeps growing, and you can even call reinforcements in the DLC.
Send a ranger to my position.
Let's do this!
Also, the brother mentions that Jesse and Dylan can be both girl and boy names, and that he dreams of a world where there is just one Jesse Dylan Faden. The board also sometimes refers to us as Jesse/Dylan. This spawned a number of theories. 1. The fact that there are multiple universes in the slide projector. 2. That they were created by Hedron as tools to counter the hiss, making them siblings or twins, as Hedron itself propagates as clones, which would also explain Jesse's capability to interact with Polaris consequence-free. Or 3. That the siblings used to be one person, now fractured by this slide projector, with Trauma or Hedron rewriting memories, an ability also used to implant designs into Darling's mind, who also showcases the reason for this. He did not do well towards the end. So, perhaps Dylan is Jesse's fragmented psyche, as she makes several mentions of missing something and being reborn. Her account of the initial events are fuzzy, saying that one of the children wished for all adults to be gone, which happened due to an entity in one of the projector's slides, and then slowly starting to attribute this wish to herself. Nail, another of the children who explored the slides with them, was bullied by the other children due to his asthma that sometimes gave him nosebleeds, making him wish he was not a boy. All of these children vanished without a trace or explanation. Theories, theories, theories. I feel like Darling right now, rambling about insane stuff and forbidden knowledge that perhaps makes little to no sense. Perhaps the confirmed sequel will give me answers, or maybe the duck will. In conclusion, Control is a third-person shooter whose combat mostly holds up with varied enemies and interesting powers. The main strength of the game lies in the capacity to visually manipulate environments to create puzzles and secrets for your mind to figure out and for your eyes to enjoy. Exploration in the oldest house always feels fresh and interesting, rarely reusing mechanics, and even when having two collectibles of the same type, slight twists are added. The altered items are truly a magical and unique experience. The game can take you anywhere from 15 to 50 hours to complete, depending on the amount of optional content you wish to experience. Nowadays, the Ultimate Edition sells for €40, going down to 8 on sales, and it has all content and DLCs included. Even though this looks like a niche game, it is not. I can easily recommend this to anyone, despite the few minor bugs. Most who played it have fond and weird memories of it. That is all about this game, and I will see you next time.
How did you get this job?
Started as a junior agent because my uncle knew a guy. From there I got put on a desk until an accident left the containment sector severely understaffed. At which point I got bumped up to management. Put in a steady 8 hours a day for another 10 years, and voila, supervisor.
I just picked up a gun.